Yes, it is true. The Black Ice Hockey Podcast is back in action for the new season, Jenks. I'm your co-host, Nick Blaine. I'm your co-host, Blaine Adams, and I'm right here as always with your co-host, Nick Jenks Jenkins. What's going on, man?
Oh no, you can't even remember who you are. That's not good. Rough start to the season here.
Yep.
Um, hey man, I'm excited. We're back for year two. Lots to talk about over the off season here. The off season's kind of a dead period. We get to relax and recharge and play a little bit of our other favorite game, a little bit swinging the sticks, get out and play some golf in the good weather. But man, the NHL is heating back up. We are about a week out, I believe, at this point from the season. So lots to talk about, lots to catch up on.
Yeah, it's been a crazy summer for hockey, especially in the NHL and around the league. I'd say some highlights in the college realm as well. But full swing back in the hockey season. I think there's a tournament pretty much every weekend now for youth hockey. High school starting up. It's just something different is in the air this year. Everybody's out here. Everybody's wheeling and dealing. Everybody's stepping it up a little bit. The pace of play is moving up. But Jenks, the more important question is, did you break 80 this summer? The fans want to know.
I break 80.
Yeah.
The fans are going to be disappointed. I haven't broken 90 very often this summer.
Man.
I've got I think I've got a season best 84 this year. I'm shooting a lot of low 90s, and you have one too many pops on the golf course, and then you end up in the three digits once in a while. That happens.
Will happen. That will happen. Every now and again, if there's a car girl, she just can't pass by your group. You have to flag her down and be like, hey, yep, we need reloaded, and just have a day out there. Nothing better than sitting in nature and having a beer. That's for sure.
You're telling me I have to go out into the beautiful weather for 4 hours, swing the sticks around with the boys, and just have a good time. Oh, and drink a few sodas along the way. That's not a bad way to spend a day. So try to do it as much as we can
and
while we have this weather.
We got to do some kayaking, some jet skiing, and then what else did we do? Got the knee board out. We're ripping around the island, and kids out there were scared. They were scared of us dominating the waves behind the boats. That's for sure this summer.
You were, I'll give you credit. You were a natural on that kneeboard.
Some would say I'm a pure athlete. I'm just a pure athlete. Here's what I say. I'm good at everything. I am not the best. I am not the worst. But 3 or 4 times I'll get it. I'll get it down pat. You just gotta bear with me for a second. But Jenks, this summer for the NHL season. Whoa, pause. The fans want to know as well. Are you coaching high school this year? What's going on?
I'm back, boys.
Back
We're
in
gonna
the
have
saddle?
some more. We're gonna have some more high school hockey updates this year. Yep, back for my. It'll be my second season with the varsity team at McDowell. I did the JV team for 2 years before that. Helping out. Should be a good season. We're off to a good start. We're 1-0 so far. Preseason. But yeah, expect some for those in the region. Expect some PIHL high school hockey updates.
Nice. PIHL's in full swing as well. So I have 4 rinks around, close to me, around me. And then I think there's a few that are 45 minutes away, but it's always interesting to see how many teams play their home games at one rink. I know I played high school hockey. We moved from Mount Lebanon to Ice Castle. So it's so weird to see oh, this team plays here now, or maybe a majority of the team lives in a certain area close to a rink, so maybe they're screw it, we're gonna move to that closer rink. So it's very weird when I see new banners pop up at rinks. I'm like, what the hell? That's not right. Or the teams that used to dominate when you were younger, you see a state championship banner, you're like, absolutely not. What is going on with that? we used to beat that team 11-0. Like what are we doing? Just different times. Kids are getting better, a lot better. Um, but to the NHL season, I think the main highlight of this summer, Jenks. I just want to cover it right off the rip here.
Mhm.
Uh, our condolences go out to the Gaudreau family. Um, Johnny and Matt Gaudreau, I think, is his brother's name. Tragic accident. Don't want to ever see that happen. And even worse, it was on his sister's wedding, like the day before the wedding. And it's just, I couldn't even imagine the feelings or emotions or just being close to that sort of situation. I know how the hockey community felt around the world, around not just in the United States. So it's just one of those things that you just hate to see, and especially for the Blue Jackets. Going through something like that twice in 5 years. It's gotta suck.
Yeah, I think first and foremost here, obviously, like you said, our condolences to the families, to the teammates and friends, and everybody that was close to the Goudreaus. I mean, we've already seen the response from the hockey community. Expect to see that continue through the season. The Blue Jackets have already announced that they're going to be doing something special for them. But man, the tragedy when a tragedy like that strikes, it just freezes the whole hockey community. Everybody unites and rally around the family, and you just try to be supportive. You can't imagine what the family and friends are going through right now. Like you said, tough loss for the Blue Jackets organization. I think, from a hockey standpoint, there were high expectations for them to take a step forward this year. And obviously, he was instrumental in that plan. I mean, he was one of, if not the best player on that team,
Yeah.
and well liked. Everything points to he was a leader in that locker room, and everybody within the NHL and everybody he had played with growing up, making posts online, supporting him and the family, and saying how good of a person he was, let alone the talented hockey player. So, um, yeah, again, condolences to the family and friends, and hopefully we don't continue to see tragedies like this. You hate to see it once in your whole lifetime, and like you said, the Blue Jackets lost one of their goaltenders. I forget how you say his name, Kivelniks or something to that extent. I
Yeah,
can't pronounce it, but yeah,
yeah,
it's just totally tragic.
yeah. It's
So
it's
yeah,
it's one of those things where like as a sport, we just step back and say like, all right, like this is a actual human being. It's not just like something for entertainment. And it's cool to see like the Calgary Flames, their fans like do the whole memorial thing outside the rink. Even though on ice, I think he was a little bit of a spark for the Flames when he came back. Just wanted to be out of Canada, wanted to come home and be closer to family, and that's the whole situation. So it's nice to see that sort of thing when those situations happen. Everybody's like, all right, like we're all here, we're all in this together. So. Um, but yeah, our condolences go out to everybody involved, everybody close, Blue Jackets, the Gaudreaus, his family, his wife, everybody, um, and you know other things that happened this summer. Jenks. Moving on to some lighter situations. Stammer, I'd say the biggest trade or signing of the summer. We all knew what was going to happen. He probably wasn't going to be able to get re-signed in Tampa. He is an injury nightmare for teams now. But moving to Smashville, the Predators. What is your take on this?
yeah. I mean, it eventually. This had been a conversation well back into last season. I mean,
Yep.
people were wondering what the future of Stamkos was going to be, and I think it started to become clear that as we hit free agency, that he was going to test the market, and Tampa Bay has never been one of those teams when Stevie Y was there as GM and now under Breezeball. They've never been one of those teams to give a player exactly what they're asking. They develop a strategy. They say, here's what we're going to pay you, and if you think you can get more, have at it.
Yeah.
But this is our plan. And it was clear as free agency came around that Stammer and Tampa were not going to be able to come to an agreement here. So the question became, where is he going to end up? I think the fact that he ended up in Nashville came as a bit of a surprise. Was not expecting that. I think, it makes sense from where the team is, and they're looking for an elite goal scorer like Stamkos. You had already mentioned it. He's got quite the injury history, but I mean, when he is healthy, he is consistently a 40 goal scorer, and that
Yeah.
is what that team needs. So I think the fit makes sense.
Yeah, and also like Nashville, they're like right there. They just need somebody to get him over the hump. And Stamkos been there, done that 12 different times. I think they need some of that leadership. Now, not to discredit any of the Predators' leadership, Yossi, and then uh, Johnson, I think is his last name on the forwards. I think
Johnson,
Johansson.
Johansson's
Yeah.
gone.
Oh
Uh,
fuck. See what I mean? Like
there,
I don't know anybody anymore on the Predators.
Well, I think to your point though, they've got a pretty young core
Right.
outside of like Forsberg and Yossi and Saros. So adding a goal scorer like that who also has the leadership of Stamkos, I think that's only going to help develop some of these young guys like the Tomasinos and those guys. They've got some young guys on defense too.
Yeah, and then when Pekka Rinne left, they
Yeah.
picked up the Saros kid, or not picked up, but traded or drafted him. Jesus, just going through every sort of scenario, so I'm covered. Um, but they re-signed him this summer as well to an 8x8. It must be like
Yeah.
a thing around the National Hockey League right now with the number 8. 8x8x8x8. I signed Jeff Skinner 8x8. I signed another Buffalo Sabre 8x8. Here, you get an 8x8. You get an 8x8. But you know what the best deal in the NHL currently, Jenks, is?
Hit me with it.
Sidney Crosby re-signing to be a Penguin for life again for
Yeah.
2 year after this year. So technically
Yeah.
we got him for 3 more years
Yep.
to an $8.7 million contract. Now, I don't think Crosby has ever not signed for 8.7. So this guy will only take fair market value for his talent, and that's 8.7, but he far exceeds that.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And you can debate all day long if it's superstition that just said I'm taking 8-7 again, or if he said, hey, I want to take one more crack at this. I'm gonna give you guys a break again. But he has been over the entire course of his career, he's been one of the most underpaid players
Yep.
and will continue to be so even through age 40 now. We saw last year, he's still at the top of his game, and we're still paying him eight. Not we. I'm a Penguins
Well,
fan,
I
but I'm
pay
not involved with the
taxes, and
organization.
I'm sure my taxes are funneled through some sort of situation, and somebody sucking on the end of the funnel that leads into the pocket of Sidney Crosby. I'm sure, Jenks.
True.
That's how it
Maybe,
works. I'm not
maybe
political,
indirectly.
but that's how it works.
Regardless of whoever's paying him, maybe I am paying him. But he is going, even through last season, I mean, to be at the top of his game and making 8.7 when there are guys in the NHL making $14 million now.
Right.
That is just incredible. Always a team first guy, wants to win and willing to do anything to win. And, you know, the Penguins, on kind of related note, the Penguins are almost at the end of this era, and this
It's sad.
almost certainly guarantees, right? Almost certainly guarantees the end of the era is in 3 years now. So
Yeah.
he puts us in a position where they can go out and sign some guys or trade for some guys or really take another crack at this thing.
I
So
can't
we'll
even
find out.
imagine life without Crosby. What is life without like bread? Like, you know what I mean? Like your carbs. Like you run off of carbs. Your body needs the carbs. Like we
Right,
need
right.
Crosby. But
Yep.
it's just like one of those things that like Lemieux Lemieux probably didn't get the right send off he wanted, dealing with all the cancer issues that he had, and had to
Yeah,
like go to treatment, then go to games and go to treatment. Um,
yeah,
and for Pittsburgh, Crosby means so much because he brings that like never give up, always in it, always hardworking attitude that is kind of defined by Pittsburgh. It's gonna suck to see him go. And if anybody out there is wondering, oh my gosh, they always say he's undervalued. Like 8.7 is a lot of money. Look at Jeff Skinner, prime example. My guy signed an 8 by gajillion $1 million contract, and I think he put up 1 goal while he was in Buffalo, or still in Buffalo. I think they bought him out before the end of the season because they're like,
yeah.
God, get rid of this contract. So if you still say 8.7's not underrated or underpaid, that's exactly where it should be. I mean that's just dead wrong. Like we have plenty of examples. Like everybody's getting 8 by 8. The whole NHL is obsessed with 8 by 8. But you know what I'm obsessed with, Jenks? The Anaheim Ducks new home jerseys. The orange with the old school duck in the middle with the X with the hockey sticks. I mean, you really can't get a better jersey than that one.
No, that logo, just the logo alone, has been a fan favorite for what are we going on 30 years or more now? I mean,
Yeah.
since they entered the league. So for them to reintroduce that logo is a win alone. But I think the color scheme works too. Like
Yep.
they stuck with their current color scheme and just adapted it to that logo, and it's already a million times better than the other jerseys that they've been wearing for the last decade or so. So this is a win all around. I guarantee you, with some of their young players in there in the new jersey, they're going to be some of the hottest jersey sales in the NHL this year.
Yeah. I also thought it was kind of weird. The Anaheim Ducks announced their new captain as well. They didn't have a captain last
Mm.
year because everybody's like 3 years old on their team. Radis
Radko,
is Radko. There's a K in there.
Radko Gudis.
Gudis is the new
Yeah.
Ducks captain. Very weird choice. Now I don't know if they're gonna do like a Johnny T. Austin Matthews sort of situation where they're like, "Hey, Trevor Zegras, we need you to like not be a social media impersonator and just like focus on hockey, and we're gonna have this big burly man teach you how to do that." Maybe that's what they're doing with the whole that captain pick. I don't know.
I agree. I mean this is like you said, there's a lot of young guys on this team,
Yeah,
right? They've got to create a gap here so they can let somebody else step up and be the next leader, whether it's going to be Zegras, although his time has been rumored to be done in Anaheim a couple of times and he's still there, so we'll see if he ends up getting traded, but
well, I think
I
he
mean
wants
they've
the
got
money. I don't
well,
think
he
he's
probably
worth the
wants it
money.
back.
Like as far as play goes, he's worth the money for everything he sells outside of the rink. Like jersey sales, hats, I'm sure. Like he could just
Yeah.
flick his finger and be like, "Here's a stick, everybody buys it."
He's got all of the style. It just needs to start happening on the ice for him.
Yeah.
That's all it is. So
And
but
good.
between him and Gauthier and McTavish and that young kid on defense, I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now, but they've got they've got 3 or 4 guys who could realistically be the leader of this team down the road. But I think they need some leadership in the short term, and that's what this Gudis pick is.
Yeah, it doesn't seem unsurprising. Just kind of the way the Anaheim team is set up right now with all the young guys. And speaking of young guys, I'm on a transition just train right now. The San Jose Sharks, for those of you that don't live under a rock, Celebrini was picked first overall. Goes to San Jose, hometown, homeboy, and he's going to be living with Joe Thornton,
Mm-hmm. Or is it Patrick Marlowe?
Patrick Marleau.
I think it's with Marlowe, right?
Who's living with Joe Thornton?
I don't know. There's so many young kids there. Maybe
Jesus
Will Smith or
Christ.
somebody.
Probably. But Patrick Marleau being a surrogate father once again to a highly stouted draft pick. What are your thoughts on this whole situation? Do you
So I mean,
like older the whole like older NHL players taking in some of these rookies or some of the new guys to be under their wing in that aspect and like get away from home, like because he could live at home, Jenks, he could.
right. I think it's important that they don't live at home because then you're sort of trapped in like this old lifestyle.
Yeah,
I I don't I guess I don't have an opinion on it. I can see where living with an older player would help in your transition, especially when you're coming into the league at age 18. I mean, you need to hurry up and mature, and both in terms of your physical play, your physical ability, but also your mental maturity. You've got to get into a different mindset for professional hockey, and
yeah.
somebody like Marlowe is going to help you do that. Think of when Crosby started in Pittsburgh. He lived with Lemieux, and Crosby had a rough couple of years, the first couple of years with
100
his
points,
reputation
yeah.
with the refs. No, no,
Come
no.
on.
Of course he scored,
Come
but
on.
he complained about everything. And I think Lemieux helped him to say, dude, you got to figure that crap out because you're already dominating the game, but you've got issues with the officials. You've got the coaches coming down on you for yapping
Well, we're
too much.
always wrong, Jenks. We're always wrong, right? Like that's just
The
it.
refs
Like
never can win. The refs
we,
will never win.
yeah. It's just everything's like not in the rule book or that's not the right rule. It's just
Yeah.
whatever.
But long story short, yeah, I think there are benefits to some of these really young guys living with some of the veterans or retired players or whatever, because they're going to help them with that transition. And when they're struggling, they can step in and say, "Here's my advice," and it makes sense.
Yeah, I also think it's like you should never buy a house in a city that you're like moving to. You should always like
Yeah.
rent for the first year. Like you don't know anything about this, and it's just different with
Mm-hmm.
Celebrini. Like that is his hometown, so he knows a little bit about the city and could
Mm-hmm.
potentially just like buy an apartment downtown, kind of like Oli Mata, how he bought an apartment literally like right across the road. So bought the most expensive penthouse apartment you could buy, but he bought it. Um, and yeah, I think it's cool because some of these kids may have not gone to college. Now Celebrini did a year at BU, but uh, BU, BU, the
You,
red and white. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So um, now they might not know how to live on their own. You know what I mean? Like how do
yeah.
you start a washer? I know people that don't even know how to put the clothes in the dryer. So it's a little crazy out there. I know a lot of people know that, but it's not common knowledge for some of the higher echelon talented kids out there in the hockey realm. Um, but moving on to some of the older heads, Pavelski, the guy that does it all for the Stars in San Jose, finally hangs the skates up. I'm sure he'll be taking in 95 million kids, or he'll be moving into a scouting role, or he'll be moving into somebody else's GM. But hung it up. What a career this guy's had. I don't think he's ever lifted or hoisted the Stanley Cup, but the guy literally is just Mr. Reliable out there and always seems to get it done in the playoffs.
the tip master, had the best hand-eye coordination the game has ever seen potentially. I mean, that's what he would do. They would do drills where he would just go in front of the net and tip pucks for like 30
Right.
minutes at a time, and he was so good at it. And you said it, Mr. Consistency, all the way to the end, had 67 points in his final season as a 40-year-old.
Yeah.
He never really slowed down, and I think he just got to the point where he said, you know what, enough's enough. I don't want to put my body through this anymore, and I don't know that I'm going to be of use to the team at this point in my career. So he decided to step away. And unfortunately, you also said he never won a cup. Spending most of his career with San Jose, and then going to Dallas to chase the cup. And Dallas sniffed the Stanley Cup Finals a couple of times in the last few years, but just came up short. So he will. I think he probably goes down as one of the better players that never won a Stanley Cup.
Yeah, and it's sad to see because that team is starting to age out. You think of like Jamie Benn and Tyler
Yeah.
Seguin, and then you have like all these young stars, and it'll be interesting to see what um, kind of players they bring in to maybe take these stars to the
Yeah.
championship, take them to the Stanley Cup. They've been in a few playoffs, but haven't got across the line yet. They kind of need to break through um, that like semifinal and final drought that they've
Mm-hmm.
seen to have recently. So
Yep.
yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that team turns out in a few years with everybody. But um, a few more summer NHL related news. The Utah Hockey Club finally approved, finally got their logo situated, finally got a rink, and their first goal was an own goal, Jenks. Now,
I was
I
hoping you were going to bring
don't
that.
I don't know how you do this when you are an NHL team, but was it fake, Jenks? Did they do it on purpose just to get their name out there? Part of me wants to say like they just shot at their own net. Like, what are we doing
It's
here? They
it
forgot
is
it
too
wasn't practice or something?
it's too early in the season for conspiracy theories
Oh
already.
man,
Remember, this team was once formerly the Arizona Coyotes,
yeah.
and it's the
I
same
I I
roster.
haven't I haven't forgot. The people haven't forgot.
No, that was like of all things that could happen. Of course,
Yeah.
that's their first goal is on their own net. Like this is gonna be a meme all season now. Um, yeah, I think it is what it is. That people are gonna blow it up to be something funny, but this Utah hockey team, they have high hopes this season. So I think they're gonna try to put this blip in the preseason behind them and just move on.
I mean,
But
I
yeah,
just hope
that's
they
just the
don't.
worst.
Yeah, I hope they don't do the Vegas thing where they come in and just absolutely just
Yeah,
run to the Stanley Cup. But like you said, it is the Phoenix Coyotes or
yeah.
Arizona Coyotes or whatever they called themselves when they were down there a gazillion years ago. But
Mhm.
it's just we'll see where they can go from it. I'm excited to actually see what their name is going to be instead of the Utah Hockey Club. Now it'll be cool to see how those jerseys and how those like T-shirts of the Utah Hockey Club move into the future because like maybe it's a sentimental piece now. Like, oh, remember when we were this fucking crazy team? Team name stupid. Those are our first years. Like what a relic some would call it, or an old school jersey. Like maybe this is gonna be their throwback in 20 years. You know what I mean? So it'll
How
be
many? There's most every team has a script jersey at this point. Like Pittsburgh
yeah.
has one that is well liked. So I think there is a very realistic possibility that even when the team name officially comes out, this plain Utah jersey is going to be a third jersey or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, and I'm like okay with the colors too. Like I don't hate them. I
Mhm.
think it does look a little weird, but we're just not used to it yet. But I don't hate like the whole color scheme. To be honest with you, I
Agreed.
thought
I
I
like it
was,
too.
but
No,
I
I'm good
I
with it.
I didn't really hate it. Another touch on the Utah area, real quick. Utah is
Mhm.
going to be hosting the Olympics in 2034. So this is a big deal. Utah actually had the Olympics in 2000, way back then. I don't even know what day. It was, I think, I want to say either 204 or 1982. Those are the 2 years that I could see at Neville Island. There's the big banners that hang on the Olympic wall or Olympic stadium. I could every time I'm there, I just read them, but I forget which year it specifically was.
2002, just to be
Ah, I
clear.
was in the middle. I had a big range, Shanks. I had a big
You were
range.
right in the middle.
202, yeah. But it'll be fun to see. what they do, and
Yep.
it's actually sad because some of these Olympic villages, they build them and then they never get used again. Like
Mhm.
look at like Beijing, like all those buildings are falling down, or look at even closer, look at Lake Placid, right? Like some of those facilities are still being used, but they're not being used to what they were built for. I know not everybody's an Olympic ski jumper, and they're not out there practicing every 2 days or whatever. But like
Mhm.
maybe they turn it into slaloms that they may have, or like the rinks. I know they host like tournaments up there for the New York kids, but there's no like big major things
Right.
of like nostalgia. Is what I'm trying to get at that are being
Yeah.
hosted there. So, oh,
Yeah, I know it's the Olympics. The Olympics are, sort of controversial to some people because of the reason that you brought up. These buildings, people pay millions and millions and hundreds of millions of dollars to put up these new
millions.
buildings. Millions. You've
Yeah.
got the better impersonation than me. Um, my father gave me a small
A
loan of a
small loan
million
of a
dollars.
$1 million. Like, okay, sick. Got it.
Uh, but anyways, these countries are spending all this money to put up these buildings. They get used for a couple of weeks and then basically disappear into existence. So, it's like, does it make sense to just have the Winter Olympics in like a 3 or 4 country cycle where they rotate instead of just sticking it in like Qatar every once in a while, where you're like,
Yeah.
oh my God, these are never going to be used again, I promise.
Right, yeah. Like there's actually
Yeah.
zero people that will use that. Um
Yeah.
but oh, how did you watch any of the Olympics this year? Like the Summer Olympics?
I watched a little bit whenever I could. Yeah.
I think I'm going to say it over and over until they fix it again. I didn't watch it because you had to pay for 95 million different streaming services to see all the shit you wanted to watch legally. But, like I just don't there's no draw to it anymore. Like it used to be a big thing. Like everybody's like, all right, USA, I'm all in. I'm watching diving. I'm watching badminton. I'm watching everything. But now it's just like I'm gonna pick my like one sport, like soccer, or I'm gonna pick the 100-meter swimming competition. I just don't think there's like a draw to it anymore, like it used to be in the past. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just don't see the commercials.
I mean, it's like I feel like there was a point where people would be like, "Oh my God, the Olympics are coming!" Like, clear my calendar. I'm going
Right.
to be watching that
Right.
every free second. Um, and it's definitely one of those things. At least for me, I like watching it, and I'll watch whatever's on. Like I turned on the TV the one day. I had a little bit of downtime. I watched rugby for like 2 hours, and I was like,
Yeah.
actually, it's like rugby was kind of sweet to watch.
Right.
And I never would have watched rugby if it wasn't for the Olympics. But I wasn't like seeking out times where like Team USA was playing.
Yeah.
And maybe some of that is like I'm more interested in the Winter Olympics, and some people might be really into the Summer Olympics. Like basketball fans probably watched all the USA basketball games, but
Right.
that's just not me. So yeah, I think some of it's a mix of what you like to watch and just I don't know if there's the same like rallying around Team USA that there used to be. It just feels that way to me.
Yeah, it's like there's like a main person now. Like there's a one famous person or two famous people that you
Yeah.
watch or look for, and I think that's kind of like taken away from the Olympics a little bit. But then again, that's how they get people to watch. So I understand.
Mhm.
And what about the new events? Like, do you like adding like these crazy events? Like for Paris, it was like the kayaking that's like whitewater rafting. It's just like they
Mhm.
had to go through like obstacles and things. Or I think they put in a different one that had people throwing up in like the Nile River or whatever. Not Nile,
Oh yeah.
the
No,
whatever river.
not the Nile River. That's in Egypt.
Yeah, I was like, once I said it, I'm like, no, that's Africa. I forget what the
Yeah.
the river was, but it got everybody sick.
Yep. Yeah. And the swimming events were all held in there. And that was a problem. But I
How do
think
you
the
not,
most
Jenks, how do you not like test the water? Like scoop it up and just kind of like shake it and look at it, and you're like, ugh, like I don't know.
They were probably just thinking like, swim at your own risk. Like we can't, we're not going to put all this money into cleaning
But
it.
it's the new event, the new event of the Summer Olympics. I
No, you know what the new event of the Summer Olympics was, and it was a total
the
bust. Was
breakdancing.
freaking
Yeah,
breakdancing,
yeah,
dude.
yeah. I just remembered
Like
that. Yeah,
this had
that
like I
shit's
feel like people
stupid.
were actually talking about that before the Olympics. They're like, oh, what? How is breakdancing going to look? And some of the performances, okay, there I see a claim there to why you would want it in there, but there were a lot of performances, especially that one chick from Australia who got a 0 out of 10. Like, how can you see
I,
that and support this sticking around? Like that
I
was
don't
a
know.
bust to me.
See, like those are the things. Like same with gymnastics
Yeah,
and maybe I just don't understand it. I get it's a sport. Gymnastics is a sport. I get it, but I don't
yep,
understand how you judge it. Like it's based off of one person's opinion, like or three
correct.
people's opinion. But still, like you just spin on a bar, uh, a one or two. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Like maybe there's like if you do so many spins, you can only get X point, or like if your
I
toe isn't pointed, it's like a half point.
yeah,
I don't know,
I'm
Jenks.
I am sure there are like guidelines to how you score it based on how the performance goes. But to your point, like that's a very like objective way
Right.
to judge it. Like you've got three people voting on it who are qualified, whatever that qualification is and whatever guidelines they have to follow. I'm not really sure, but compare that to something like a team sport like hockey, where you definitely or definitely did not score a goal. Like it's a
Right.
very
It's
it's a
in
very
or it's not
straightforward
in.
thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's the same like circling back to like the breakdancing, like I don't know how you judge that because
Right.
one person could love what you just did and the other person next to you could absolutely hate it.
Right.
It's really I don't know, like the technical like all I think is like Stomp the Yard, right? Like when I watch Stomp the Yard, like those people were breaking it down over there. They were throwing it down. Like Chris Brown, like put Chris Brown in a breakdancing competition, it's over. It's over. Like I I just don't know like how you can I don't I hope it's gone. I hope they tried it. It's gone. Like they get it out of there.
Okay. We are not breakdancing experts. This is not a breakdancing
Yeah, it is.
podcast.
We're turning it
So
into breakdancing podcast from now on.
breakdancing. All right, we're traveling to the nearest breakdancing competition. So
Hey,
comment all the near breakdancing
my
competitions.
main goal, Jenks, is to get into one of those ACL leagues, American Cornhole leagues, and absolute dominate with a beer in my hand. One beer in the hand, as per rules, per Blaine rules, and you throw the cornhole with your right. That's
That's I feel like that's a pretty standard rule. You need a counterweight, and if you're not carrying your
right. Yeah.
counterweight, then you can't play.
Exactly. Exactly. You get it. People out there get it.
Yeah.
So going back to the NHL stuff, EA Sports happens every year. 2025. The cover athletes. This is a trend that we've started to see. There's going to be more than one athlete, so they don't like put the curse on just one person. They can put the curse on everybody. The Hughes brothers, Luke, Quinn, and Jack, all are on the cover, and I'm sure like if you buy the Supreme Deluxe Super Edition, you get just the one brother. Or you buy the limited edition, you get two brothers, and then you buy the regular edition, you get three brothers. Now that would be smart for EA to do, but they don't pay me for that. So what is your take? How's your gameplay going, Jenks?
So I, I'm gonna throw some fuel in the fire here. This
Oh
is gonna be the
jeez.
first year. This is gonna be the
Controversial
first.
hyper. This is Jank's own opinion. It is not Black Ace Hockey Podcast
My
opinion.
opinions are my own and not representative of my employer.
Mhm.
This so
As all
I
opinions
love
should be.
I am a big sports gamer. I love sports games. I have CFB 25. I play it a lot. I really like it.
Alright.
Um,
So you'd
this
say
is
you're
probably
you're an avid EA fan.
no. We're definitely not saying I'm an EA fan. Now
Okay.
you're pushing.
All right. All right.
This is probably going to be the first year I don't buy an NHL. And
Wow.
just because, like, I didn't have that much fun playing it last year, I'm not that tuned in to what they're changing this year. I expect it's just going to be a roster update like it has been the last 25 games that I bought.
Right? Sure.
So I don't know that I'm going to buy it. I'll have to be convinced otherwise. But related to the cover athletes, the season hasn't even started, and the curse has already taken effect. Luke Hughes is already injured
I
and
know,
is
I saw
expected
that.
to miss the start of the season. It's like, come on, you're telling me that there's not a legit curse here?
Yeah.
Explain that.
I mean, you look at every Madden that they put out. Every Madden, you can
Yep,
find it, but like maybe there's one time where Tom Brady was on and he won the Super Bowl. Like, okay,
yep.
sure,
Well, he
that
he's on
doesn't
it.
count.
Yeah, he's the exception.
Right, but it's just like it's a real thing because I think you know I'm gonna put on my PhD in psychology real quick hat. You get a little starry-eyed. You get a big head.
Yep.
Oh, like
Yes.
I'm the fucking man. Like look at Antonio Brown, look at Rob Gronkowski. Like all get
Yep.
hurt because they think they're like above the echelon of players that they're playing against. And then not the thing. I mean, that's my opinion, of course. And on the flip side, Jenks, if I ever played against somebody like yourself that I knew, or that there was like somebody on the opposite team that was better than me, or was like a little more well known, it would be my personal mission, Jenks, to absolutely go out there and just wait for when you have your head down. Just wait, just lurk around there, just
Give me a
maybe he
chance.
doesn't come in the first or second. Maybe it comes in the third, and maybe there's
Yep.
5 minutes left, and we're down 11 goals. It's gonna happen. But maybe that takes into effect where like you're seeing some of these athletes get quote unquote targeted because they're um, out there a lot more than others. I would say. Like I don't know anybody on the Nashville Predators besides Stamkos. They would never get a target. But if say we played the Ducks, like there's some highly well known people, not just in the hockey world. Like they're going to like L.A. and Vegas and things like this. Like maybe I like lock on to number 11 out there and just wait around and see what's good. Maybe give him a high five once or twice. Maybe a big old hug out there. I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm just thinking out loud, Jenks. Has my own opinion.
That's not from experience or anything. That's just
Never, never.
hypothetical.
I'm a very, very quiet person out there on the ice. I just do my thing and I get off. And I do my thing again and then I get off.
Except the one game where we played against each other, where you're basically holding my jersey the entire game.
Well,
You were so close to me.
somebody's got to watch it, Jenks. Gotta watch. Make sure you don't get out of hand out there. And then when you get out of hand, you gotta slap you and just make sure. Hey, I'm right here. Keep it down. Hey, that's what I do. I'm man on man. I'm out there. I'm like, hey, I'm here. I'm still. I might not be the fastest, but I got you. I'm right there. I'll back check, head down, just straight to the goal.
Coaches love you.
Some do. Most hate me now, but
Not, I was
when
going
I
to say not
played,
not
when I
anymore, but
when
when
I
you played,
played, coaches loved me. Yes.
now coaches hate you.
Ah, they fucking hate me. They don't just hate me. They fucking hate me. Anyways, kind of rotating to the college aspect. Big news in the NIL, NCAA, CHL realm of hockey. It's been announced that CHL and NCAA have come to an agreement that you can pay a 16-year-old, and then that 16-year-old can get cut, Jenks, and he can actually go to a decent college that's not in Canada and play hockey.
Is that must be new news, because I didn't even know that was finalized at this point.
That is
Um,
finalized, yes, because the first ever CHL verbal commit to the NCAA, Braxton Whitehead, is committed to ASU.
Good.
So
Well, that's
and
great
he
if that's
yeah, and
finalized
he
now.
plays for the Regina
Regina. Yep. That's where
Pats,
Bedard played. Yep.
right? So
I mean,
so
this is just all good all around. We touched on this last year a little bit when they
yep,
had first started with the NIL. this is now possible. It makes this whole thing possible, and the NCAA and CHL started to take a look at this. There was a lawsuit, I think, around all of this, and
Well,
now
it's
we're
just an
seeing
outdated philosophy,
yeah,
especially
well, it
especially
is
now.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it makes sense for the development of players and for the sake of the organizations. I mean, now you're really going to see the best of the best. Sorry,
Right.
day one jitters.
Yeah, it'll
Um,
happen.
you're going to see the best of the best go play juniors from 16 to 20, and then they're going to end up in college, and then you're going to see even more talent in the NCAA for players that NHL teams may have already drafted and said they want to see some more development, or players who didn't get drafted but are kind of on the cusp. They can go
Right.
play NCAA and get some more experience under the lights and maybe get picked up by an NHL team. So, agreed with what you said. This is a win-win all around.
Yeah, it's a little weird. Like you think, trying to explain how you level up in hockey,
Mm.
um, is pretty impossible because there's so many leagues and what's considered professional, what's not considered professional. The lines get a little blurry. So I'm
Mhm.
glad the NCAA has like finally lifted this role and it's come kind of with in the NIL stuff and just the amount of money I'm sure NCAA is making now because I'm sure the sponsors have to get the green light slash pay the NCAA to be a partner, blah blah blah.
Yep.
So yeah, it's cool to see and like you said, it's best on best now. NCAA is going to get everybody that didn't go straight to the pro league and
Mhm.
the NHL guys teams and scouts are going to get more developed individuals instead of just these whiny, like scrawny, like 2 foot stick wielding uh, spaghetti men from the CHL. Like you got to grow some muscle out there, man. Hit the weight room or something. I don't know. So
Seriously.
um, but yeah, Jenks, dude, that's like 40 45 minutes right there. So um, I think we might wrap it up with the first and probably the most important writing on the wall pick. Yes.
First, yep.
Stanley Cup 2024-2025, Jenks. I need you to lock in and give us your pick.
I thought about this a lot, and I did a little bit of research because I was
Whoa,
curious. I did a little bit of research, not too much, a little
stat
bit.
guy.
So, statistically speaking, and what Vegas is saying, the Edmonton Oilers are the favorite to win the Stanley Cup.
Mm,
I don't believe that for
no,
a second. I they
not with
got as
that
close
defense.
as they got as close as you could possibly get, but not with that defense and not with that goaltending. That is
Mm,
not a Stanley Cup team. And McDavid and Draisaitl can't keep doing this one-man pony show where they just score 300 points combined and the rest of the team scores 100 points.
mm,
Not going to work. So even though that's the Vegas favorite, that's not going to be my pick. I'm going with a team that's been very good the last few years. They continue to be very good. They've got two of the best players in the game, arguably the best center, and definitely the best defenseman in the
mm.
game right now. And this is the Colorado Avalanche.
Wow.
They have found a way to keep all their pieces together. The loss of Nichushkin is a little bit indefinite of how that's going to look.
Yeah.
He scored when he was in the lineup, but there's also hope that their captain Landeskog could be back this year, and
There's
that would be
always
a
hope. The
huge one.
guy's
There's
hurt
always
like
hope.
94/7.
That is true. He's always hurt, but there's hope that he's back, and that would be a huge lift. Say he comes back in the middle of the season in the dog days where everybody's like, "Oh my God, this is game 45. I don't want
Right.
to be here."
True. True.
Everybody'd be like, "Oh my God, Landy's back. Let's go." It
Yeah.
would be a huge jolt. So I think they've got the pieces to get it done. They've been a powerhouse for years now, and I think they get back to lifting the cup again this year. That's my pick.
All right. All right. Now my heart says Pens, but
Yeah. Well, that's
I
true
just
for
I
me
just
too.
can't um financially say I'm picking them because it would definitely ruin my bank account and my mortgage. So I'm gonna go with a team. that again, we always say young guns,
Yeah.
the like younger core, I'd say. Um, and that's going to be the New Jersey Devils. Now they've licked it before, they've sniffed around it, they've really made a push for the playoffs. They've got some rentals in before. I just think they're the new Carolina this year. And I think Jack Hughes is so sick and tired of just being that guy that was a bust and then all of a sudden came back and now he's the best and now he's hurt again and Luke Hughes is out and oh my brother. It's just we're fucking locking it in. New Jersey Devils, we're here to play. Get yourself a good goaltender in there. Maybe bring Ray Shiro back. Get him in the office. Get him cooking. Get him cooking something up. But they need to have some rentals. I think what New Jersey needs, they need to play like they did last year.
Yeah.
Towards
Yeah.
the end of the season, they need to get real fucking serious about rentals. Kind of the
Yeah.
same with Carolina. Maybe not get Kuznetsov because we saw how that worked out. Maybe get a team guy. I don't know. But let's let's go here. I think New Jersey is gonna win it this year.
I like that pick. I almost picked them. I'm glad I didn't because now we've got different picks. So
It's
yeah,
yeah, it's
everybody can go back and see how our records compared last year, and you probably don't want to go with the Avalanche as a pick based on that.
I I wanted to pick the Rangers, but I just think like when you have guys on your team that make over 10 million
Yeah.
and they're not like the best player, if not like literally dragging your team into the into the playoffs. Like Shesterkin, like Panarin, like these people. Like Panarin didn't have a great year last year. Like for an
Right.
11 million, 12 million dollar man. Like
Yeah.
Connor McDavid had a great year. That's a
Yeah.
year for a 12 million, 13 million dollar man. Like
Yeah.
it's just like there needs to be less. Hey, I just won $1 million in my bank account by tomorrow. I don't care about my team. Like, say, our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, Sidney Crosby. Guy's taking 8 million. I mean, some would say that's a lot of money. To him, he could be making 20. He could
Yeah.
go to Toronto
Yeah.
and make more than he'd be like, this is my city now, Austin Matthews. That's my city. That's what he would do if he went there. Um, I'm sure he would sell a gajillion jerseys. The whole city would have a Crosby jersey.
Oh
So
my God. He could pick any team he wanted, and that team would say yes. Just blank check, whatever you want.
yeah.
Come here. We'd be happy to have you. Any team in the NHL would say that.
The dog days of the Pittsburgh Penguins. We're gonna be the new Sabres, huh? It's just not ideal.
Don't say that. Don't say
Not ideal.
that.
I mean, we lost to them. Bloomquist let up like 95 goals.
Okay. Okay. I saw that too. I didn't watch the game, but I went back and looked at the box score. You do realize like that was our AHL team and they had all of
Don't
their
care.
NHL players in
Don't
there.
care.
The whole NHL team.
We had Puyarvi. He was the first overall.
Get a hat trick. We lost
It,
7-3 and Puljujärvi had
a
3
hat
goals.
trick and a loss doesn't even matter. Forgot about it. Doesn't even count.
Oh my
It's
God.
just
Be
it's
one
just
of
like
those
it's just
guys.
like winning your season and then not winning the championship. Like so what? So what? You got an empty net goal when they were not trying. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Watch the Sabres go undefeated in the preseason. They're gonna get all this hype and then they're gonna finish third to
They
last in the
always do. They always do. It's like the first 2 weeks of the season, they win every game because people are like still rubbing the crust out of their eyes, and they're like, "Oh, we're playing the Buffalo Sabres. Let me
league.
just pot
Yeah.
nine." Like
Yeah.
get Tage out of there. Get Tage on the Penguin. Hey Tage, come over here real quick. Let's win a cup together. You like Crosby. We like you. We've got Malkin. He's the funny guy.
Yeah.
But any last words for the people out there, Jenks?
Nothing special. Just welcome back for the next season and hey, subscribe to our socials. Expect more content coming out of us this year. Instagram. We're gonna fire up some YouTube clips for you. Blaine's been doing a good job of cleaning up the channels, prepping for the season, so you should see a fresh look coming soon. Yeah, stay tuned and enjoy the ride with us.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun this year. Did update the logos, so you should see it's more crisper this year, more cleaner, more professional, some would say. Yeah, we're gonna be doing YouTube. Twitter, we're not ready for financial reasons and quality of life. So I sticking to Instagram, YouTube. But hey, guys, it's gonna be fun this year. And I am your co-host, Blaine Adams. I'm right here as always with your co-host, Nick Jenks Jenkins. We're out of here. Later.